Welcome back to another episode of Spiritual Teachers Podcast. With me today is my buddy Jacob, coming in all the way from Mexico, central Mexico to be exact. Jacob is a medicine man, a firekeeper, and a student of life. Welcome on, Jacob. It's such an honor to have you on, man.
My brother Peter, thank you, brother. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here with you and sharing this sacred space, this sacred journey, this sacred mission that you're on of spreading this awareness, man. And man, it's an honor to be here. I'm grateful to have been called to your platform and to share just a bit of my soul, a piece of my soul, a piece of my heart, a piece of my mind, and see what we can do with the magic we create this day, man. This lovely day, 1010 portal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm really excited, man. We got such amazing topics to cover. Obviously, we'll start with Jacob's awakening journey. Then we'll talk about initiation into serving Bufo, the importance of healing DNA, activating your avatar through the sacred elements, cultivating conscious relationships with the earth, and medicine merely as a sacred tool, and the true ceremony being life. So, yes, brother, I am really excited. Would you be open to sharing how the journey kind of started for you, how you ended up in Mexico, how your spiritual awakening kind of started out?
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So so starting just, with subtle backstory, I grew up in Southern California. I grew up in El Centro, that is right on the border of Mexico. So 15 minutes south from where I grew up, you're in Mexico now. So
Mm-hmm.
I grew up very strongly in that Mexican culture. I am half Mexican, half African American. And so, due to certain circumstances, I grew up fully in a Mexican household with my mother, my grandma, and so yeah, I grew up in very strongly with that just Mexican imprint on my essence, and but in a very neutral way, not in a spiritual fashion, just your normal, wholesome Catholic Mexican family. It's pretty cliche, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how I grew up, man. And along that journey, it was just a lot of. I had a good childhood, thankfully. I can say, there's definitely some things that were hardships. It wasn't that we were like a super wealthy family, but with what we had, I will say I had a very good life. So gratitude for that. Great spirit was always flowing in our lives, and I always give a lot of thanks to my mother and grandmother and like my aunts around me because they have a very strong faith in what they believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that strong faith in what they believe in, even though it may not be my direct path, it instilled in me the ability to have a very natural, strong faith in my walk of life.
Mm-hmm.
That was just like one key point I definitely wanted to share. However, the beginning of everything for me was in 2013. I was in 11th grade. I was a junior in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody left the book The Four Agreements in my house on my toilet.
Oh
I
yeah,
still don't know to this day who it was, bro. Like
spirit,
somebody,
spirit
I
working
want to
through
say,
somebody.
yeah, man. I think it was like my stepbrother at the time or one of his friends. He was in the military and he would come visit. I'm pretty sure it was him that he came from the military and he had that book on him and it was brand new and he left it there. So,
Mm-hmm.
just because I was really intrigued, it has like what looks like, marijuana plants on it. So I was like, yeah, I'm about to read this weed book. So,
Right?
honestly, that was my exact opinion. But that's
Uh-huh.
not what I found in there. So
Nope, not at all.
that, so this book here, man, this book, I didn't, this is the type of book that you can read multiple times and contingent to your level of understanding of yourself and life. Each time you read it, you'll receive a deeper download from it. And so, at my level of understanding at 17 years old at this time, it was not that deep what I received from it, but it was deep enough to spark
Mm-hmm.
something. And I remember going to my mom, like, look at what this book's saying, because in the very first chapter of that book, it's the whole explanation of how everything is God.
Yeah.
And it's going into that, it's going into how the Tolteca teacher in that book, the figure they're speaking of, I don't remember his name at this moment, not the author, but the person they're speaking of in the book.
Mm-hmm.
He's speaking of just that connection to nature and everything being a reflection of you and a reflection of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember reading that and just being like, this contradicts everything that my mom is trying to teach me in church, you know? And I showed her this, like, Mom, this is way more, this feels more resonant to my soul than anything I've like learned about God, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
this, like read this, like this is amazing. And instantly my mom demonized it. She was like, that book is not of God.
Oh
And but
gosh.
something stayed in me, like that book planted a seed in me. And I
Mm.
remember reading it and like trying to understand it from where I was at that age. But um I would say it planted subtle seeds in me. However, not enough to give me an awakening, but it
Mhm.
planted seeds in me,
Right.
And then fast forward, let's go into, me graduating high school, me moving out at 19. And it just really flowed into like me being in a life of being outside, like jumping off the porch, really cliche, like really just starting a life of what I would call, looking back at it, self sabotage,
Okay.
I would say that through just that cyclical pattern of just me living a life of just, you know, not necessarily party. I feel like I stopped partying around 21. However, I was like somebody that was really keen on substance abuse.
Okay.
In full transparency, that was like what my reality was. That was what my surroundings was, and that's what, say, my culture medium was of who I chose to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, there was a lot of substance abuse in my young years, like say 19, or put it like say like 17 to like 21.
Mm-hmm.
And 21 is whenever that spark really started to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So at 21 is whenever something started to activate in me. And interesting enough, it was through a mix of just feeling the heaviness and the weight of my own, say, toxic, cyclical relationship with those substances. Never anything super hard. It would be like, say, what I would consider, like, say, party substances.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily anything that's gonna take me out of the game like that.
Right. Okay.
However, so some of these things, even if you're using them without intention and without, say, a lot of these substances can be called medicines used correctly.
Like
However, it's
mushrooms, for
a
example, right?
medicine if you use it, but a substance if you abuse it.
Right.
You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
a drug if you abuse it, but a medicine if you use it. And I wasn't using it correctly, So,
Mm-hmm.
but however, with certain things like such as LSD or mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms, there, even if you're using it thinking you're about to have a blast and a great time with your boys, there's some things that you can't avoid in experiencing.
Yeah.
And I remember this very one time where it was 2017. I was living in Tucson, Arizona at the time. I lived there for 1 year. And I had this experience where I don't really have the exact words to explain where I went, but I went into this void, I guess you could say. It was just a beautiful fractal. And I kind of
Mm.
just melted into it. And I don't remember what happened, but I came back with the download from whatever happened.
So
And that,
it sounds like you went through the veil.
yes, we could say that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
into another dimension or another reality, right? Like a higher frequency.
And I came back with a message from that we are cells living on the planet Earth.
Ah, okay.
And that's the message. And I was like really processing that in that very moment. I was like, okay, so if we are cells living on this living organism, why are we not doing our job in this body?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, so everything's backwards. Like, we're actually taking from this body and destroying it instead of being the ones that are ensuring its health. you know, because it's like when I observe my body and the cells that exist in me, I really hope that they're doing their job in my body, and I know that part of them doing their job in the body, it's like my job as well, you know.
Hmm.
However, it's like I know that I hope my cells are doing their job in my body.
For
So
sure.
that's how I was observing it, and it was a reality shock. Like I was like, how am I gonna go back to my job after this? Like, how am I gonna do life after realizing that we're living backwards? You
Hmm.
know? And so it was a whole mind twist of observing that new perspective.
Hmm.
And as I really thought, I was like, bro, there's no coming back. And you know, I wasn't in a state of life or mind or anything to be able to have a awakening that implements change in that moment,
Hmm.
because it was just what I realized there. Like I was not ready for it, you know.
Hmm.
So I feel like it was very natural for me to kind of, even though it was embedded in me, I still numbed it down and continued to live life as I was living.
Hmm.
And fast forward, later that year, I moved back to California, and I was in a very interesting predicament with my partner at the time, um, and my cousin.
Hmm.
And so, in that situation, it was still that type of chaos of substances and moving substances and doing substances and that type of lifestyle, you know. And through that, my cousin, he's a really intelligent guy. Even though he's a wild man, if you will,
Hmm.
he's really intelligent, and he's like somebody that does research and study. And in that very moment, amidst of all that chaos, he was really called to share with me um, just like manifestation 101, law of attraction, like things like that. Like
Hmm.
very beginner level stuff that is important on the path, and it gets deeper as you evolve, you know.
Hmm.
But that's like a good ground base for somebody to really start to see how this life and the energy in this universe works, you know. And to understand that, I feel like it's a great start for anybody that's on the journey of understanding and seeking answers in this reality. So he was breaking that down to me in the midst of our interesting predicaments,
Hmm.
and I was like really like, wow, this is amazing. Well, why are we gonna like learn it if we're not gonna implement it? So
Hmm.
we got out journals, we started manifesting, we started writing, we started journaling
Hmm.
together. And from living in the predicaments that we were living, that was like, say, um, basically selling certain things to be able to just pay the next hotel and just be like, okay, we're living in hotel life. We did that for about um, a couple months.
Hmm.
And a couple months of doing that, writing, journaling, we were able to manifest ourselves into a situation where we no longer had to do those things. And
Oh,
we're now
beautiful.
living in Pacific Beach, San Diego, in a spot that we like literally curated, and it just the way it came together between the three of our minds and putting that energy together, and we were now living in a place that a lot of people may dream of living in, a location, you know.
Yeah,
And it was a
Pacific Beach is an interesting vibe, man. I lived there for a year. Uh,
yeah,
for those that don't
interesting.
know, it's in San Diego. It's a very party town.
Yeah.
A lot of like mid to late 20s young
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs and people just kind of still coming out of college but still wanting to be in that party life. And when I moved there I was like, yo, where's like the spiritual center at?
Exactly.
And I
None of that.
found the Hare Krishna temple, and that was like the closest thing I had in Pacific Beach to that. And then I found Ocean Beach, and then I found Encinitas. So those
Mm-hmm.
were those had a lot more options than Pacific Beach. Let's put
Exactly,
it that
man.
way.
Exactly. No, 100%. However, like this is me, 21 years old. Like
Right.
I was like, and me, I'm like, this is it. You know, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
even though like I wasn't big on like partying, I
Hmm.
was like, say, big on like, say, parties in my house.
Right,
Like
right,
I
right.
wasn't on the streets partying, but I was like in like, say, doing my thing in my house. So,
Yeah.
but that was like the vibe at the time, man. And it was one particular night in that house in PB where once again it was a tab of LSD, and I was like slowly starting to like inch my way into, because there was something already activating within me, that something that was activating and bursting within me. However, it was, this is something that has a ascension.
Hmm.
So it's not something that happens overnight.
Hmm.
However, it was something that was gradually happening from inside of me.
Hmm.
And me living this life that is not necessarily aligned with anything to do with cultivating spirit still found its way
Hmm.
in. So this was another night where, amidst of the chaos, we decided to once again have a journey with LSD.
Hmm.
And you know and there's a lot of people that may say, that's a cheating way of getting your awakening, but however, I say spirit enters the way spirit needs to enter you
Exactly.
know
Exactly.
And so that's how it happened for me. And I am 100% grateful for everything that has occurred in my journey, because without everything that happened, it's like literally a mathematical equation that led to me being in front of you today.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
if you remove certain key parts of that, like this is a whole nother timeline, brother. Like,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
I honor every single part of my journey, even the contrast that was also one of the biggest teachers of my life.
Hmm.
Like, learning what to do is just as important as learning what not to do. Or rather than that, I like to say learning what not to do is just as important as learning what to do.
Right.
So so I value both of them on an equal level, because it's forming that discernment, that path. And so going back to that night, something phenomenal happened. So
Mm.
I was like just inching my way. Like, spirit science was the method that I was tapping into. It's a YouTube page. I think it still exists. Spirit Science is the name of it,
Hmm.
and that's how I tapped into Manifestation 101.
Is
And
that what the
all
little
those,
is that what the little
the little dude,
cartoons?
yeah, the
Yeah,
cartoon,
okay,
the
he's
little dude.
cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I would watch those videos, man. And one of those videos was like a recommendation that was a description, like basically an audio voice that was like, say, robotic, explaining from first dimension to fifth dimension.
Hmm.
And that video was actually taken down from YouTube, and it was this video that was actually really activating. Like, and so boom, this is exactly how it happened. It was a formula.
Hmm.
I remember like they're in their party mode, and I'm like, man, like this is moving different in me. Like, I'm gonna go meditate. I don't even know what it means to do it, but I'm gonna go try.
Yeah.
So I put that audio on, first dimension to fifth dimension, and I got this Ninja Turtle blanket, bro.
Oh
I
yeah.
went in my bathroom. I went in my bathroom, and it was like a sheet. So like it was a white sheet. It had like all the Ninja Turtles on there. It had the colors and everything.
Nice.
And I went into the bathroom, which was like the only place I could find peace at the moment, and had the light on, and I just threw the Ninja Turtle blanket over me, and like, because I wanted to have light, but I also wanted to have like feel like I was enclosed.
Right.
Like, so I threw that Ninja Turtle blanket on me. I threw the earphones on. I put that audio on, and it literally took me through a journey through each one of those dimensions. And
Oh wow.
as I got to the fourth, and this was like basically an audio describing thoroughly like the frequencies and of everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it got into the fourth, and like stuff started happening. Like, I am over here just breathing with it. Once we get to the fifth, bro, I start leaving my body. Like, I start inflating like a balloon, and I'm
Whoa.
like amazed by this, right? And it's literally like the most fascinating thing that's ever happened to me. I start inflating like a balloon. Each breath is like, I feel like myself just zooming out, like woof, 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 and out of nowhere, boom! I'm right above myself, observing myself from the ceiling.
Oh
You
wow.
know, And in my mind, I'm like, I just died. And even though I'm like, I'm still alive, but I just died. And I'm over
Right.
here trying to process that, right? So I start to freak out a little bit. I know I'm like, I'm all right. All right.
Okay, so
So
you were starting to astral project out of your body and you felt like you were dying, right? So
yes,
what
I
happened
thought I
after
was
that?
dying, bro. I thought I was like, in my head, I'm like, I just died.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I started like, once that like panic entered, like in my mind, I'm like, I'm okay.
Hmm.
But to everybody else, I just had a overdose and I died in my bathroom on LSD.
Right.
So that attachment to like say my physical reality, just and me freaking out about that, like poured me right back into my body where I was just like,
Mm,
like bro, it was the most amazing thing that ever happened to me at that time. You know, I'm
wow.
like, I come out the room excited, like super excited, like I'm like, yo, like I'm like it's literally my partner at the time and my cousin, the same two, and I'm like, you guys have to go in that bathroom, put this Ninja Turtle blanket on, put these earphones on, and listen to this recording.
Yeah.
Something amazing, and they're both looking at me like, bro, like you're tripping, brother. Just chill, man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, man. Like, we're not gonna do that. Like, I'm just
Right.
like, man, I'm telling you, like, it's the. But one of the most phenomenal things that happened on that journey, because right before I portaled out of my body, what popped up was the Aztec calendar.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man. So that is what popped up. That is the visual I was having. Woo, 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 woo. And so as I'm observing that,
Like
man,
this, right?
aho, that exact one. That
Yeah.
exact one, man.
Yeah.
So as I'm observing that, that is the exact moment that I'm like having this experience where I'm inflating, 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 inflating,
Hmm.
and poof. And I remember like mathematical equations, what looked like numbers and like mathematical equations just like flying by me. And like now that I look back at it, like I would say like, and this is the second time that that's something like that has happened to me because on ayahuasca, my first ayahuasca, the same thing happened.
Mm.
Um, however, um, this is that is what happened, man. The I now that I look back on it, I liken it to like potentially like you know the coordinations to the pyramids or something like that. I don't know because those are very pristine and precise mathematical equations that they understood to be able to have them in that exact formation. You know,
Oh
so
yeah. Oh yeah.
um, that's not what I thought in that moment. I didn't know what to think.
Right.
However, now looking back at it, I'm like, wow, like maybe that was like just ancient information just downloading into me, or not downloading because it's already in me, but activating,
Hmm.
being reawoken. You know, so
Almost like the
um,
Aztec calendar being like a map, huh? Or like
exactly.
a way to uh somehow access that place, that state, or that or what, like you said, like a formula that they use to build the pyramids.
Yeah, man, exactly. That's exactly how I see it now, looking
Hmm.
back at that moment.
Yeah.
However, man, that was where it all started. Like something
Right.
sparked in me, something shifted in me, and that night I remember crying and praying, bro,
Mm.
begging for healing, not knowing how to do it or what it means to heal.
Right.
I just knew I needed it, you know.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that night I just remember like praying to God, literally like praying in like the best way I could possibly see fit, in whatever just came through me, and just begging for healing, not knowing what it meant, what I had to do, and what it looked like.
Right.
I just knew I needed it. So that's where it all started, man. And that's where the first thing that I tapped into on the level of studying consciousness was KRS-One. Are you familiar?
No.
KRS-One, he's say a specific teacher. He's from the Bronx, New York, and
Okay.
he's one of the most profound spiritual teachers of, say, African American culture. And he basically is somebody that is what Masons would consider a 33 level degree Mason on his level of awareness and consciousness, even though he does not pertain to that culture medium. Like he is
Okay.
somebody that like say shoots the shit with them, and like they're like, man, like this dude is, like, and
Okay,
so
is
like
he does he have a did he have a center in Brooklyn with like Egyptian uh like Egyptian style like temple? Is that the same guy?
it may be, man. I'm not sure if he has anything of that sort, but he's big on Kemet. He's big on just the whole Egypt frequency and
Okay.
that ancestral path. He's
Hmm.
big on all of that, so it may be. However, I'm not sure if that is something that he runs or has.
Okay.
But yeah, KRS-One. His name is Terrence Parker, and
Okay.
man, this is an OG in the game, and it's that's where it all started for me. It's there's a excerpt of a speech that he's giving where he's giving like the whole explanation um of consciousness and like say like he uses Rockstar because he had like a sticker that is like the Rockstar energy drink, and so
Hmm.
he was using that as like an example. He's like, I want everybody to say Rockstar without your words, just in your head.
Mm.
And so he invites everybody in the room to say that. And so everybody's saying it in their head, rock star. And
Hmm.
they're like, okay, you guys heard that, right? And they're like, whose voice is that?
Hmm.
And he's like, that conscious, that voice in your head, that's who you truly are. And who you think you are as this vessel is just a mere avatar. And you are not that avatar. You are the consciousness streaming through it, and we can get into like that relationship to how we stream that consciousness in a bit. That's going to connect to the elements.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um However, so that was like the start, and since that was like basically like the first dose of like a consciousness expanding conversation, I would
Uh-huh.
just watch that same video on repeat. I didn't
Mm.
know where else to look, man. Like I was just like, okay, so I just like my mind was like, where can I find the information that I know, like that I want, like,
Hmm.
and there was always something in particular, like in my youth, that was like a very innate understanding. Like say for example, like out of my whole family, there was one particular uncle that was very successful. And in my mind, like as a youth, like in high school, I would always like ponder with myself, like clearly there's something that he knows that a lot of us don't. Like
Hmm.
I don't know what it is, and I think I was way far off, because like in my mind, I'm like, this dude must have like these like spiritual practices that he's doing and that we
Mm.
don't understand. That wasn't the case. He just was a good businessman. But
Right.
those thoughts were the types of thoughts I was having, where I'm like, there's stuff out there that I'm not being taught or told
Hmm.
that is like the reason that like some people are just able to advance more in this life than others. Like there's stuff that I need to learn that is not going to be mouth fed to me. That was always like a concept that I always had like understood.
Hmm.
However, not something that I necessarily nourished due to the fact of just the way I was living my life.
Yeah.
So boom, now here that we're on this journey of seeking knowledge, I was just repeating these KRS-One videos over and over,
Right
and
on.
just that led to me finding more knowledge, me finding more videos, and just kind of just diving in there, man. And then I ended up landing once again with the Four Agreements in that same year, in that same timeline. And then it was that on repeat,
Hmm.
because the Four Agreements is very simple, understandable wisdom put into a manner that is easier to integrate.
Right.
It's not the most profound spiritual information or wisdom or knowledge. Or wisdom, you can say it's pretty profound if you really receive it on a full level.
Hmm.
However, whenever it comes to like this is like the most mind expanding and awakening book, I wouldn't call it that. But as a basis for becoming an aware human and becoming and integrating key um, key points to really start to shift the way you observe your relationship to yourself and those around you and your reality as a whole. That book is a very good bridge.
Yeah, it's like a really good foundational tool, to
Exactly.
build a foundation on. It's kind of like what's the Alchemist? That's another book
Exactly.
that
Hmm.
really just starts to open the mind, start to build these foundations of just like shifting what we're so programmed to believe is this reality, right? Like, oh yeah, it's just about the cars and about getting the money and getting the white picket fence, all that deep programming that they've been doing for over 100 years, and just taking that and reframing it and building from the foundation up something different because this reality is very different.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Exactly. And there's definitely levels to the shift, man. And that's something that I've learned. Just there's no end to the evolution that we're on. Like, no matter how far you think you come on this journey, you're always gonna reach a new level. Where on that level, you're still a baby.
Right.
You know, it's like always levels to it, you know, and it's a beautiful thing that is very humbling and simultaneously very empowering, you know,
Oh yeah.
because it's like, um, yeah, life has this beautiful way of as you start to, you know, feel yourself a bit more like, oh wow, like I'm activating. It's really easy to start to feel yourself, but life is so beautiful and it has this way of humbling you and reminding you that you don't know anything, man.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you
The
know,
only thing
so.
I know is that I don't know.
Exactly, exactly. There's something a quote that I once heard was, um, is like, I truly don't know anything. However, I do know that I am everything. Therefore, I know all that I need to know.
I love that.
You know,
Hmm.
like, cause man, it's like this. What we're experiencing here is so vast that within our human just our human nature, and even though we're these expansive spiritual beings, like these vessels, they don't last forever. So in the timeline that we have these vessels for, it's like you don't necessarily like we don't have the capacity nor the need to understand everything in this universe. We have other dimensions to be able to fathom those things. Right
Right.
now, it's about embodying the human experience because that's what we're here for.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest lessons on my journey because I remember in early awakening phases when I was like starting to have these galactivations and just like really start to activate, you know, like I only wanted to be in that ethereal state. I only wanted to be in those upper chakras. I only wanted to be in that mystical world, bro.
I totally get
And
it.
that is something that can have a lot of us horribly disillusioned.
Hmm.
However, it's part of the awakening, man. It's part of it. And now that I look back and understand, I'm like, it's all part of it, man. It's
Hmm.
all part of it.
Yeah.
Because it's like being able, I feel like in the beginning of my, I could speak for myself, but I feel like I've spoken with a lot of people that resonate with this. Um, you know, like say growing up backwards where everything is taught kind of reversed, and then we have this awakening. We're like, okay, I was lied to. We start to have these remembrances happening, and then it's instantly like a burst of love and light, you know, and you're
Hmm.
just like blasting off in that beautiful mysticism and just that magic that is also beautiful.
Hmm.
However, as you start to think that is what spirituality is, then it gets to the real work, you know?
Hmm.
And but I feel like that's the beautiful way to start is to first feel that light and feel the immensity of how great that light is, and then have to be confronted with the actual reality of what needs to be worked on, not only in ourselves but in the world. Because once you get to that part, you're like, oh wow, like this is not what I expected out of this spiritual journey. But
Yeah.
it's the most beautiful part, man. Is to just realize like what being on this journey as a soul, having a human experience entails, man.
Hmm.
It's beautiful, man, and it has a lot of contrast, but that contrast is part of the most profound and beautiful part of life. You know, it's one of the biggest teachers, man. Just as much as we can learn from um, just meditation, from yoga, from breath work, from researching, from learning from all these different beautiful cultures, the contrast in life that you can feel through the heaviness, through the shadow, through the darkness, through just observing something that is opposed to what is your desired path and direction, and being able to say like, oh wow, like that was a very interesting way to respond to reality.
Hmm.
I'm glad I never had to reach those measures, but through observing that, I'm gonna make sure that I never do.
Right.
You know,
Hmm.
and to be able to take into consideration those types of things, like the simple factor of, a smart man learns from his own mistakes, but a wise man can learn from the mistakes of others. Like
Right. Exactly.
a very key
Exactly.
principle. So being able to have a mind that is able to integrate not only through your own experiences, which is very necessary,
Hmm.
however, being also able to have, like, say, guidances in your life, spiritual teachers in your life that are able to pass down this game, this wisdom, so that you don't have to bump your head in certain ways,
Right.
and being able to learn from those very experiences and integrate that into your life. Um, but yeah, man. So that's how the awakening took place, brother. That's how it happened, and me diving into that knowledge, me diving into that information, and becoming really obsessed with learning. Like,
Hmm.
I basically put myself through college because I never went to college. Never did I even consider it. The moment I graduated high school, I was like, Mom, I'm not going to college,
Hmm.
and like I was like, it's like not a conversation to be had. I just want to let it be known.
Hmm.
I don't want to go, and I'm not going to go. This is where it ends for me. And
You
I
went
feel
through
that if I want to,
spiritual college.
exactly, bro. I went
Yeah.
through Earth University, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly that, man. And so, however, whenever I had this awakening, I put myself through a very rigorous research and study of things that I actually wanted to learn.
Right.
So, like, I was dedicated to my studies. However, it wasn't attuned to the systems measures of what they think I need to learn. It was
Right.
attuned to what I feel I want to learn and need to learn.
Hmm.
And this is whenever I really started to get into, like, say, studying biology, really wanting to understand um, just the way this human body works.
Hmm.
And then I also wanted to understand how the earth works. So I started to really try to understand the technologies of the earth and how, if I'm observing that I'm a cell to this earth, how do I use this avatar properly to be able to sync it up and link it up to what is like the interface of our existence?
Right.
How do I connect that? Because it's like, obviously we're one, but how do I consciously fuse those two, like a relationship between that, to
Hmm.
be able to consciously have them in harmony with each other and
Right.
working together, like,
Right.
because it's obviously like something that is supposed to be connected, and
Hmm.
the way we grew up in this world, we were far from that connection. So I was
So
like,
what did you learn with that? What are some takeaways that what are some of your favorite ways to connect to the earth and really feel into Pachamama?
So one of the first perspectives that really set it into stone for me was like just the question of what is God to me, like
Mm.
pondering on that. What is God?
Hmm.
And so then I would say, well, God is whatever is the fountain of our life, or whatever is the source of our life.
Hmm.
And I'm like, then processing it within my human experience, what is the source of my life? So that's when I really started to do this, like what I call divine mathematics,
Hmm.
formulate an equation. So I came to the remembrance, because this is not information that is mine. This is a remembrance. This is what we all have access to. This is what our ancestors intuitively understood, and this is the harmony that they lived. This
Hmm.
was just me remembering that harmony.
Right.
So, in order to exist on this in this human plane, on this human existence that we call Pachamama,
Hmm.
I can't exist first and foremost without sunlight.
Hmm.
Nothing can exist without sunlight.
Right.
I can exist without water. Nothing can exist without water.
Hmm.
I can't exist without eating.
Hmm.
Food comes directly
Well,
from the earth.
some people can.
Oh, true, true. I mean, but we can't exist without earth. We
Right.
can't exist without the elements of earth and everything that it brings to us.
Hmm. Hmm.
We can't live. We don't have anything to live on if there's no earth.
Right.
Like,
Right. Right. Right.
so. And then the most important one. They're all important. They're all super important. But this is the one that streams the consciousness. The way this element that we call oxygen, or this was scientifically called oxygen, which is truly, what we call the elements of air, the elements of wind, This is much deeper than the thing that they labeled oxygen, that, as we know, comes from the trees, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So, coming to that meditation on what is this truly, because the first thing that happens if we stop breathing, and this is something that KRS-One taught me. He has a whole excerpt where he's talking on this subject. I'll send it to you, and it's he explains it very profoundly, very beautifully.
Yeah,
So he's saying,
we'll drop it in the description for sure.
yeah, for sure, man. So he touches on the fact that what is the first thing that happens if you refrain from breathing? The first thing that happens, you're not going to die, but you will lose consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
That is the first thing that will occur if you refrain from breathing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does that tell you about breath? The literal process of inhale, exhale is how we continue the stream and the flow of consciousness through this vessel, through this avatar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that completely, it was like a blast of boom, whoa, like this was a moment for me where I was like, it shifted my whole relationship to nature.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow, brother, like, you mean to tell me that this very air that we breathe is what is allowing me to have this awakened experience? So it's like, this is deeper than air, this is deeper than oxygen, like, this is life, this is consciousness, this is God, this is prana, this is whatever you want to name it.
Mm-hmm.
This is energy, man. Like, this is the most vital thing that we have,
Mm-hmm.
is this prana,
Mm-hmm.
this mana, man. Like, this is the most vital thing that we have, and it's the most conductive, most electrical facet that we have. I remember sometime when at one point somebody asked me, "What is the most conductive element that we have?" Just automatically thinking, just in the danger of water and electricity combining. I was like, "Water," and they're like, "No, man." And they say you would think, but actually, it's the air, man. Like, breathing is the
Mm-hmm.
most conductive electric thing for your being,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why people are able to survive on that breatharian. Like, if they're committed to that, that is why they can truly thrive and survive off of that, is
Yeah.
because that is the most electrical energy exchange that we can have with nature and with ourselves. However, combining it all as a whole is where you really get deep with it. I know that was a further topic that we were supposed to
No,
touch, but
this is perfect. The topics just go in as they come, you know.
yeah,
It's all just, there's no order to it. It's beautiful. Yeah, I really like the way you describe that because it seems so simple, right? But it's like I've found in the most simple things in life, that's where the deepest wisdom lies. You know,
exactly,
it's like taking something that, this huge calculus formula, right? And like distilling it down into just like four letters, right? Like x plus y equals z, right? And then
hmm,
that formula is just so profound
exactly.
when we connect to it. And that's what I felt like the transmission you just shared was. It was
Hmm.
really, yeah, it's really beautiful to remember, right? That the breath is what's keeping us here, and
Exactly.
that is what's running the prana and the mana and the chi through the body,
Exactly.
and that's that wind element. And it's
Exactly.
really interesting you mentioned that because there's five elements, and
Hmm.
there's different activations that I've found throughout my journey with different elements.
Hmm.
And recently, just last week, I had this big activation with the wind element. So I was
Mm.
like, okay, this is beautiful because we were on top of a mountain with my buddy, and the wind was so strong, and it would just come in kind of like a dragon energy. It would just like come through this valley that we were sitting in, and it was just profound because I felt that the masculine energy of the wind was just kind of like leading it, and then the feminine was connected but also part of it, and then the wind came and like put it the feminine aspect of the wind came and just like put her arm under my neck, and just it was
Mm.
just a really beautiful moment to really connect with that spirit because I believe all elements, all part of this reality have different spirits and energies, and
Hmm.
so connecting with that spirit was really beautiful for me.
Man, that's powerful. That's beautiful. That's
Yeah,
beautiful, man.
thank
Thank
you.
you for sharing, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, like this topic of like the elements is something I'm very passionate about
Hmm.
through my research and then through going and applying that research
Hmm.
and coming to the conclusion of the fact that this is the most potent way to connect to source
Hmm.
is through very nature. You know, there's many ways. This is just like, say for example, there's so many ways that you can reach healing your DNA. There's so many ways that you can, and this is something that is first and foremost something mental, because first you have to come to the conclusion that this DNA needs to be healed, and that comes with shifting paradigms. That comes with shifting your perspectives, and even coming to the understanding that nature is the answer. You know, that
Hmm.
is a mental process. You know, and so when it comes to that, there's so many different routes that you can take to this DNA activation and healing this DNA and really getting to that point where you start to shift things within you and
Hmm.
around you.
Yeah.
There's so many routes to take. However, our ancestors knew that the most direct connection to that source was through a very deep immersive connection through those five sacred elements.
Hmm.
As like they're just like that: wind, water, earth, fire, ether. You know,
Hmm.
so through that very connection is exactly how you activate your avatar. You know, and like just like the cartoon, the avatar is the master
Hmm.
of the four elements, and
Yeah.
it's just like that, man. Whenever you really have an integration, an immersive experience with consciously connecting with these elements, learning like the fact that you know that the palms of your hands, the palms of your feet, that it's a different texture because it's like nodes. It's like literally like a node of a battery. Like say this part of our skin is like the positive charge of a battery. You know, the part that has like the external part,
Yeah.
and then the other part that has the flat part is the hands, like the
Uh-huh.
hands and feet.
Yeah.
So this part of your body is the positive, where we receive positive charge from the sun,
Hmm.
and this part of our body is where we receive negative charge from the earth.
Oh,
So
yeah, I love that.
that's a one, like a ground one, like just understanding of just our innate connection and just how we are biologically constructed very precisely to
Yeah,
be
we're
able
kind of
to
like a
have that.
battery in a way, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
man. Like, and whenever you learn how to, like, just the technologies of those subtleties within your human nature and learn how to actually use them, you know, and then, like, from learning how to connect with the earth and understanding, like, say, um, I'm not vegan. However, I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables,
Hmm.
you know. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and something I was vegan before, and something that I received as like a connection from a remembrance from that energy exchange is the fact that, like, say, um, food is information. You know, what you eat is literally information for your cells. Your cells eat what you eat, and they take, like, if you're eating nothing but processed food, then you're feeding your body inorganic information, which is going to produce inorganic activity in your body, which is going to produce inorganic thoughts in your mind. You know,
Mm.
so food is actual information. So whenever I started to really observe, like, what does it mean to eat straight from the earth? What does it mean to eat these fruits, to drink these plants, to eat this vegetables? Like, what does that truly mean? It means that you're actually receiving direct information from the earth straight into your body, straight into your DNA, straight into your genome for that to flourish. And so you to be in tune with the happenings and the frequencies and the information of the earth. Same
Hmm.
thing with eating psilocybin, same thing with drinking ayahuasca, same thing with smoking bufo.
Right.
Um, because I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but bufo is actually a toad that lives 9 months under the earth. Nine
Oh, I
months of the
didn't know
year, it
that.
lives under the earth, man.
Wow.
So, and it only comes out in rain season. It comes out to reproduce and to spread the medicine.
Wow.
Um, a sister in our community here, she had a vision on ayahuasca, where she actually um, had a vision where she was able to see how the Bufo toad is instructed. You know, it goes into the earth, and the earth seeds the medicine in its glands, and the same toad is instructed to go out and give the medicine. And that's
Mm.
why like it's not like when the indigenous are harvesting the medicine, and thankfully the ones that we work with, they do it very consciously. They make sure to not take out all of the medicine so that the toad still has for what to be able to defend itself, the means to defend itself. So
Mhm.
they take out say like 60% and leave 40,
Mhm.
and then release the toad back to its habitat.
So
And
that's man, I just have to ask, so what's the name of the tribe in Mexico that works with the Bufo? And yeah, I'm so curious about that whole. I've never
yeah,
worked with
man.
Bufo before.
So
So yeah, I mean, I've worked with ayahuasca and I've worked with other DMT releasing substances, but the Bufo hasn't. I haven't worked with it yet. So
okay,
yeah, I know you're very connected with that medicine. So I'm really excited to talk about this. Yeah.
yes, sir. So yeah, that's actually the Seri Comcac Seri Comcac, and they're in Sonora, Mexico, in the
Hmm.
desert. Their village is in an area of Sonora that's called Punta Chueca.
Hmm.
And yeah, man. So that's the SERI, SERI, Comcac, COMCAAC, SERI
Okay.
Comcac. Yeah, man.
Okay.
And you can
Beautiful.
call them the SERIs or you could call them the Comcac, and yeah, either one works.
Okay. And
Man,
you've
yeah, those
studied,
people.
you've gone to, have you gone with them to greet the toads when they come out?
No, not that part in particular, but just like say learning, praying, and all of that. But I haven't gotten to do the actual act of getting the medicine with them, which
Hmm.
will soon come. Soon come. It's a part of the process,
Yeah.
for sure. However, in regards to say just like the whole initiation with Bufo and all of that, I'm still in that process, man. Like say um, I've been working with Bufo for 3 years now,
Hmm.
and it's now and I'm really taking my time with that process. I've been an assistant in Bufo practice and Bufo ceremony for these 3 years,
Hmm.
and really respecting that journey, man. And
Hmm.
because this is a very sacred medicine, this is not something to be played with and not something to be taken lightly.
For
So
sure.
it's not something that you can learn in one weekend, and not something you can learn in a couple weeks, and not something that you can learn in 1 year. Like
Hmm.
this is something that takes a very profound um, care and nurture and understanding, man. And that was the advice that was given to me in the beginning of my journey, because a part of me was like, once I started to really understand it, I was like, I'm ready. And
Hmm.
then, but I asked in full transparency, um, like, hey, like, what do you recommend? Like, how should I approach my journey? How should I navigate this? Because I just really want to learn, and I really want to make sure I'm doing things right. I'm not
Right.
in a rush here.
Hmm.
I'm not in a rush. And a good brother of mine, he said, he's like, in full honesty, I would definitely recommend that, that you stay in the service and learn as much as you can, because this is a medicine that is probably one of the most powerful substances on this planet.
Oh yeah.
And so this is something that can take people so many different places
Hmm.
that you can't learn it in one weekend. Like say unfortunately there's these courses nowadays, and I'm not here to bash them or to say that this is not right. It just doesn't resonate with my spirit now that I've walked with Bufo for these 3 years. Um, the fact that there's people offering courses where in 1 week they give you or 1 weekend they give you a certificate that you can
Hmm.
now serve Bufo, man, because it's like this is something that is so powerful, man. And the medicine doesn't harm people, but what has potential to harm people is bad practice. Somebody that does
Hmm.
not know the full extent to what they're dealing with. And I was told this in the beginning, but now that I've walked these years, it's only been three, man, and it's flown by like that. And I've learned a lot, and I'm still honoring that process. I'm at the point where I give one-on-one sessions. I've given multiple one-on-one sessions. However, to the point where I'm going to say I'm ready to attend a group of 15, 20 people on my own and give this big ceremony and like portray myself as this person that is, um, you know, adept to that. Which I'm not going to say that I'm not. I'm just in a really in a process where I'm honoring the journey of being a student, learning, because I really want to make sure I'm doing things right, with respect, with
Yeah.
love, always from the heart, and never turning it into a business. You
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah, I mean, and with that kind of medicine, when there's 15 people, it's almost too much. That I feel like it's better to do one-on-one as much as
Mm-hmm.
possible because it's not like ayahuasca where you're in uh, a journey for 8 hours. This is a shorter journey, but it's really intense. People flail around.
Mm-hmm.
They lose control of their body sometimes, right? Like there's all kinds of stuff that can that can go all different directions, and
Yes.
I think it needs and it's almost like it the medicine is asking for that one-on-one of like, hey, I got you. I'm here with you, you know, I'm holding it, when it's
Exactly.
like the energy's too dispersed, it's really difficult to do with one person or even a
Exactly.
small group of people.
Exactly, man, and yeah, man. So I'm really thankful for the people, the sacred family I have around me. These chapters of my life, man. I have some good people around me, man, that I learn a lot from, man. Um, and I'm on my human journey. I'm on my path, and I'm fortifying with every step, with every year, and just becoming more of who I'm supposed to be. Um, and I'm not here to say that I'm this perfect being that has mastered it, that has come to these levels where I am, someone that can be your guru. Never, never, never.
Hmm.
I would say something that we often share with people is like the moment somebody tells you that they're gonna heal you, you should probably run. You know,
Right, right,
because
right.
like say like we're conduits, man. Like the true healing comes from great spirit, from these sacred medicines, from natural divine forces, and from the person, the patient's willingness to heal.
Right,
From the like I give the person that took the medicine, had the courage to take it, I give you the credit for healing.
right.
Like you healed yourself. You had the courage to show up. You had the courage to pray. You had the courage to take this medicine. You had the courage to have faith in, the guidance, and you had the courage to have faith in life, in
Hmm.
great spirit, you
Yeah.
know? So it's like that, man. And it's just these are things that we learn from the elders, man. Like because when it comes to this world of medicine, it warms my heart. It makes me super happy that the medicine, it's on the forefront because the elders talked about this. They said, because the whole prophecy of the eagle and the condor, you know, and in the times where the tribes were still living in for what at most was harmony. Um, they they the elders were able to foresee that chaos was coming,
Hmm.
that the memory of our people was gonna be wiped, that the memory like that we were gonna forget.
Hmm.
They foresaw it, man, but they also foresaw that memory was gonna return.
Hmm.
And so like I don't know how much you know about that prophecy, but man, it's really beautiful, man. And
Yeah, if you
they,
can share it for the people that aren't familiar with it, I'd love to hear I might be missing some pieces with it, so I'd love to hear uh,
yeah, man.
from your words. Yeah.
So the condor represents the south. It represents the heart, and the eagle represents the north. It represents the mind.
Mm,
And so there was a point in time where these spirits were wing and wing, flying in harmony. And this is a metaphorical way to describe that the tribes of the north were in harmony and in flow with the tribes of the south
hmm.
on on a spiritual level, so that's the essence, is like, so they use the eagle and the condor as a metaphor of representing the tribes of the North and the tribes of the South. And because a lot of people forget that this is all the Americas, man. Like a lot of people, like you're like, where do you live? Oh yeah, I live in America. And I'm like, okay, I do too, even though I'm in Mexico. Like this is still America, you know.
Uh-huh.
Like you live in the United States. Like,
Right.
however, it's like all of this is America, man. So it's like it's one spirit, you know. It's one spirit as a land, and so this is like the eagle and the condor. Um, when they fly wing and wing in harmony, they're doing their little dance, a little spiral. So they landed, and when they landed, that's whenever they were had the shadow of the trees casted upon them. That's whenever they landed, and that is whenever um, our information was wiped. That's when we forgot who we were. That's when we were colonized, and
Mm.
this was something that the elders, that the ancestors prophesied. And now that the remembrance is coming, this is a moment where we are about to soar again. Like this spirit is reactivating. The spirit is healing, and this all ties into what I wanted to talk about of just the earth and the elements, man.
Mhm.
Because um, the consciousness is waking up. The consciousness is arising. The heart
Mhm.
and the mind are now coming into sync.
Mhm.
They're now coming back into coherence. They're now coming back into one,
Yep.
because we were separated, man.
Yeah.
And so we're now on the new upbringing. Like, say, there's a lot of perceivable chaos in the world right now. However, I very confidently would say, this is just an opinion, that the scales have tipped, man. The light is definitely a lot stronger than the dark forces in the world right now, even
Mhm.
though it may not be perceivable, because a lot of what's happening and what's being cultivated and what's rising through the light is so potent that it's causing such a disruption in the chaos, because dark forces of the world are clenching in their boots saying like, oh man, like we're about to be taken over.
Right.
It's literally like this thing where like they're like trying to get off their last hurrah, and that's why it's getting so chaotic. Because for just imagine your own personal healing journey, brother. Like for you to go through your own shadows, to heal your mind, your soul, your DNA, your body, man. For you to go through that process, it was blood, sweat, and tears. It was not a beautiful process, I can imagine.
Still
It was
going.
real
It's still
work.
going.
It's
Yeah.
still
It's still a
going,
lot of that.
exactly. It's real work, man. It's
Yeah.
real work. So imagine a whole collective that is currently experiencing a shadow purge, man.
Mhm.
A whole collective. Of course, that shadow looks like pure chaos, man. But if you really zoom out and try to observe through the eyes of Great Spirit, you
Mhm.
see that we're on the rise of something powerful, beautiful, and that's transcendental
Oh
on this
yeah.
planet. That's what the reality is from my perspective, man. And it's like, put the lens on that you want to look through, man. And that's what I see, man. I see love rising in the world. I see consciousness rising in the world, and I see goodness rising in the world. But before that goodness can rise and fully set a new earth, if you will,
Mhm.
first, whatever is existing that doesn't work in cohesion and harmony with that frequency, it has to fall, and that fall is not a pleasant sight.
Mhm.
So man, that's something that's happening. And like, just how revisiting the whole concept that I love to perceive our reality through this lens is that we're cells to the earth, man.
Mhm.
We are cells to the earth, and as cells to the earth, man, we have a job to do. We have to be guardians of this earth and truly embody that. Like, and when it comes to, like, say, how I was saying, I want my cells to take care of my body.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't we, as the cells of this earth, take care of this body?
Absolutely.
And I actually do observe our Mother Earth, Pachamama, Gaia, Tonantzin. I observe her as a living, breathing being, just like you and I.
Oh
That's how
yeah.
I observe her.
Mhm.
And so, due to the fact that there's so much misinformation operating on this planet, and so much just backwards, and just so much disharmony, it was um, very easy for me to liken it to the fact that, wow, like we are in a sick body. Like our Pachamama, she was ill.
Yeah.
This is a vessel that is going through an illness that, and so whenever I really started to do the math, and this is one of the reasons why I really thoroughly try to understand the imbalance of cancer, and this is a
Yeah.
dis-ease. This is a dis-ease, and dis-ease saying that so something that is at this ease can be brought back to ease. So they
Hmm.
say that this is something that does not have a cure, and that's because they necessarily don't want us to understand that there is one. However, something that is at this ease can be brought back to balance. It can be brought back to ease.
Well,
So
yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because actually, as we're recording this, the podcast that was launched today, today is 10/10, is a podcast about that, about a man
wow,
who like uh, his leg went completely black to gout and cancer, and then he brought it
wow,
back completely with herbs and recipes, and now that's his passion, and that's
wow, fully restored.
completely, yeah,
Wow, man, that's big, man. That's grand.
yeah,
That's exactly what we're talking about here, man.
yeah,
So
exactly,
So, man, so I started to really want to understand this. Like, so what is cancer? And cancer in someone's body is when your cells are operating on misinformation. They forget their function in the body. They no longer know their role, and they
hmm,
start to over reproduce that is the body in areas that don't need to be overly reproduced. And that's how tumors are formed. It's
right,
literally these tumors that are being formed because they're over alchemizing what is a matter of the body. Like
right,
there was no extra cells needed there, and you guys built a whole extra city,
right, right,
like that place was perfectly fine,
yeah, yeah,
and so that's what it was. And like whenever I observe humanity, I'm like, wow, we're a human race that is operating on misinformation. We forgot our function on this earth. We forgot that our goal here is to be in harmony with this earth and take care of her as much as she take care of us. I was like, wow, like the earth has cancer, man.
hmm,
Like the earth has a virus of misinformation, and the cells are operating in contrary of the very planet that we live on.
right. The underlying program of those people that are taking so much from the earth is greed, right?
Exactly.
It's like overindulgence of greed that is never satiable.
Exactly.
And I believe that doing the inner work inside ourselves, and then as the mass awakening happens, those people start to awaken. Then they start to recognize, oh my God, what have I been doing? I'm out of alignment with
Hmm.
myself. I'm out of alignment with the planet, carrying so much pain and suffering inside themselves. As they heal that, then that also heals the earth.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. And just that whole understanding was just another one of those wow.
The aha moments,
And
right? Yeah.
yeah, aha moment. And but then I say all this to say, as it is very clear to me that the earth is ascending, that the earth is healing. Like
Hmm.
look at what the cells of the earth are doing, man. Like consciousness is rising, cell by cell, soul by soul, being by being. There's something occurring on this planet, man.
Yeah.
And it's a very beautiful thing, man. And it's a very beautiful thing to observe that our very planet is going through a healing process. And of course, that comes with a major purge, man. Like,
Oh,
that's why, like, I observe what's happening in the world with, like, such a man. There's a lot of very, very harsh things, a lot of things that are just, like, unfathomably just horrible happening on the earth right now.
yeah.
However, it's like whenever I really zoom out and like try to view through the lens of Great Spirit, I'm observing like the fact that there's like this healing process, man, that's going on in this body, man, um and and when the body fully heals, that wants to say that the virus has been wiped, man.
Hmm.
So what I'm here to say is that as we keep doing the work and as we keep walking our life, walking our path, and as we walk this path, man, the path grows, like not the path but the community, because the more people that are walking their path diligently, seriously, walking that prayer, man,
Hmm.
people get inspired by that. It's like a very contagious blessing, you know. It's
Hmm.
like people get inspired by that, man. People are like, oh wow, like I want to, you know. And so the goal isn't necessarily as a leader to like say force feed these frequencies to people. The goal is
Hmm.
to lead by example and truly be someone genuine and someone that is
Embodied.
full embodied. Boom, there it is. Somebody that is embodied in what you believe, man, and what
Hmm.
you feel, and what you are receiving as information, and um, not just being somebody that is collecting information, but actually embodying and implementing, you know, which is not an overnight thing, man. Like this is something that takes work, as we know, man. Like, and we're still doing it, man.
Hmm.
I'm still
Right.
becoming, and that's part of the probably the most exciting thing about life is the fact that I'm extremely grateful for my life, everything that's happened, where I'm at, and um, and just the people I have in my life, the things that we're doing, and everything. I'm at 29 years young right now, man, and the fact that I know I have a lot of work left to do, I have a lot of healing left to do, I have a lot of embodiment left to flourish.
Hmm.
But being in the space that I'm in, I'm extremely grateful for the way Great Spirit is moving in my life. Extremely grateful for just life as a whole, man. Like life is a blessing, life is great,
Yeah.
and that's what excites me is the fact that I'm able to love life this much where I'm at, knowing that there's still so much more of healing and becoming to flourish. You know,
Yeah.
like man, I still got a lot of work to do, man, and that's the truth. I have work to do on myself, on my spirit, on my mind, and on my ascension, man. And that is what excites me is that I haven't even met all of me yet.
Right. 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 Exactly. Exactly, man. Exactly. It's a gratitude is one of the highest frequencies. So s- coming back to that, just it just I do it every day, the
Yes,
gratitude practice, because I just feel it. You know, I feel even with the most challenging stuff that comes up, there's still the awareness is what brings me back to that gratitude, that awareness of the bigger picture of like, I know that this may seem challenging right now, but it's actually opening so much more for me
exactly.
because this is here to teach me, and shifting from that space of like, why is this happening to me to what is this teaching me was
Exactly, man.
a huge jump, you know, in that process for me. And yeah, man, it's a really beautiful journey. And like you said, it's like you either, you know, some people reach those really high levels of enlightenment and things like that, and they might they might leave their body right after that,
Yeah.
or they may stay and teach it for a little bit, you know.
Hmm.
But really, I believe that our souls are evolving and healing and expanding, and there's so much beauty in that, right? It's like the human journey is so beautiful in so many ways, and the way spirit talks to me every day in so many different ways, that brings that awe factor, that brings that excitement, you know,
Hmm.
and it's just I look forward to it every day. Okay, what's gonna happen today, you know,
Yeah,
and
man.
that's what keeps the flame lit for me, you know, and it's it's
Exactly, brother.
beautiful. It's really beautiful. One of the topics we wanted to talk about was activating your avatar through the sacred elements. So, what can you touch a little bit on that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, yeah, we touched on it a bit, but going deeper into the concept and the understanding, the view on that.
Hmm.
So, having that intentional, because obviously, you know, we're there may be times where we go into nature, or we're always breathing air, we're
Mm-hmm.
always drinking liquids, we're always sometimes we jump in water, we jump in the ocean, we jump in. But whenever you make that connection intentional, something magical happens, man. Whenever you learn to um, revere the elements as the living spirits that they are, whenever you learn to pray with these elements, like say I lived in the jungle, man. I forgot to tell a part of the story of how I got to Mexico.
Right. I was really,
However, we'll
yeah,
get
we
into that.
maybe we can tie that in. Yeah.
Yeah, so I lived in the jungle, brother. And say there is really where I got to really implement deeply this exact practice of actually living in tune with the elements and talking to them, speaking with them, praying with them. Like say I would sit there with the water, like a body of water, the cenotes. I lived in the Mayan jungle, so there's a lot of cenotes. Are you familiar with those? The
Mm-hmm.
natural pools of water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So I would literally like if I'm praying and having somebody to vent to, like if the water is actually God, and in my mind it is,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's my way. Like I'm talking to God, like giving thanks, then telling about the things I want to work on, the things I'm like dealing with, the things I'm struggling with, and like man, this is what's going on, and I just want to affirm that today's a new day, and today's a new day for me to start, a new day for me to fortify, a new day for me to advance with love in my heart, and to be able to release and surrender the past,
Mm-hmm.
and then give thanks, and then manifest with the water, manifest literally telling the water my dreams, telling the water, what I would love to flourish in my life. And I would do this all with tobacco. When an elder of mine taught me to pray with tobacco, and so like I would give tobacco as an offering, like the smoke, and then I would tell the because tobacco is a messenger, man. So when you use tobacco consciously, as a spirit that it is, it's a channel from the heavens to the earth,
Yeah.
and it's a way, it's a messenger, man. So I would use that as like a channel, as a portal to be able to like stream my prayers straight into the elements,
Mm-hmm.
So, and then so this also comes with not only receiving the sunlight, but actually being there with the grandfather fire, and actually being there with that spirit, and actually knowing that this spirit is that vital life force, knowing that that spirit is truly that the closest that we'll ever get to the sun,
Mm-hmm.
and that essence, that wisdom, that light, that force, that transmutation, man. So like for me, and for just learning from the elders, man, and learning about this prayer, that was one of the first things in medicine that was my one of my first teachings in like say the sacred medicine or the ancestral prayer, um, that really sparked the journey. Is I had a brother of mine that taught me how to pray with the fire.
Mm.
Um, and this brother, Paco, he's a really good guy, man. Really, really awesome guy. I just saw him last week after not seeing him for about 2, 3 years.
Mm.
And man, that was a blissful reconnection.
Nice.
And so he basically taught me the prayer of the fire, man. And so whenever it comes to sweats, like I'm the fire keeper on the sweats, and whenever it comes to ayahuasca ceremonies, peyote ceremonies, I'm the fire keeper in those ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man. So just after learning with the fire, and learning that it is the actual living being that listens to you, and will give you tenfold what you work with it, man. Um, and it's a humbling thing, man, because I start to learn that like I know nothing, man. Like this is the teacher, and whenever I do come to these states where I'm able to channel this information, it is those elements working through me, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I don't take credit for those channels and these remembrances, like I know it's these elements,
Mm-hmm.
like say um, those are like say I say this is something I like to say frequently. Like I am not I know nothing. Like this is like whenever I'm there with the fire, and like somebody's like asking me because they see how fascinated I am with the fire and like making sure, and they're just like they ask me questions and I tell them I tell them in Spanish, but I tell them like I know nothing. This
Mm-hmm.
is the teacher. Talk to him, pray with him. He'll show you. He'll show you.
Mm,
And it's a portal, man. And these ceremonies, it's like one of the most important facets of the ceremony and the prayer, man. So to be able to be the guardian of that element is a very important and sacred thing for me.
mm-hmm.
Um, and so that conscious relationship building with the sun and like receiving that sunlight, understanding what that's doing to my biology, and then having an actual connection where I'm speaking with the trees, I'm speaking with the water, I'm speaking with the fire, and I'm consciously, intentionally breathing this air, not just as a what do they call it? It's a like a muscle memory thing. Like there's a specific phrase for it. It's an involuntary action.
Mm,
We don't have to think about breathing. It's just something that our body has an voluntary action of doing.
mm-hmm.
So intentional breathing, which is something um, that is very well practiced in this world, thankfully, is intentional breathing. But
Mm-hmm.
um, getting intentional with that is a game changer.
Yeah.
Is a very big game changer. But incorporating all these things consciously, hydration, man, getting in
Mm,
that water, hydrating properly, and not only with water, not only focusing on alkalinity, but focusing on structure.
mm-hmm.
The structure of the water, man. Like I have my handy dandy structure device. Oh, it's somewhere around here. But yeah, I use a UMH water structure device to make sure that the water that I drink is alive. Um,
What
it's
what
really
is
cool, man.
UMH?
UMH is the brand. I forget what it stands for exactly, but it's a German technology, man. Really interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically like it's made of crystals,
Mm-hmm.
crystal and hexagonal technology, and it's gold. It's gold on the outer. I'll grab it before we get off the call.
Okay.
But you funnel the water through it, and this apparatus, no electricity involved. It's just straight energetic work. So
Mm-hmm.
this is to energetically structure your water into hexagonal form, which
Mm,
is vibration high enough for the water to actually be able to penetrate your cells.
okay.
And so, whenever it comes to healing and purifying, like say strong imbalances such as cancer or other imbalances, illnesses, um, alkalinity is important. But
Oh, for sure.
farther from alkalinity, what is more important for the body is actually the structure of the water, and that the water is actually vibrating on a high enough frequency to be able to actually do its magic within you.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you have activated water, because water that's been bottled or water that's been running through pipes for how long, it's lost its sacred geometry, man, because it's
Mm-hmm.
becomes stale, becomes stagnant, the frequency lowers, and who knows how much water's information, water stores memory. So who knows how much information it's absorbed that you don't want into your system,
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
being in these stores, of being through these pipes, of being wherever it may have gone through before it entered your body.
Mm-hmm.
So like this water structure device in particular, not only does it heighten the frequency, not only does it give it hexagonal form, not only does it um, give it the ability to be alive again,
Mm-hmm.
but it also wipes the memory of what it has and puts it back in its origin of vibration. So,
Okay.
say for example, that water in Mount Shasta, man, that's coursing through the mountains and getting to
Mm-hmm.
that point where you're able to fill your flask,
Mm-hmm.
like that right there, man. Like that is structured water, as structured as it can get.
Oh
When
yeah.
it's flowing through nature, receiving that that frequency of the earth, when it's flowing like that through the rocks, through the river, that
Mm-hmm.
is hexagonal. That is hexagonal water.
Mm-hmm.
And what this apparatus does, it formulates as if the water was coursing through that natural river,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And so, man, that's another way, man. And so, just our ancestors knew this is through getting an immersive connection through these sacred elements. You're able to not only heal your DNA, but activate it
Mm-hmm.
and activate that ancient wisdom from within.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing about this all is the healing and the activation that occurs whenever you have a conscious immersion with these sacred elements.
Mm-hmm.
It allows you to actually harmonize your vessel for it to be able to be vibrating in a state that allows the body to heal on its own,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Okay.
and and man, like these are things that are definitely talked about these days, and it excites me to know that this is the frequencies that are like reigning on the planet right now.
Yeah.
Like we're literally in times now where the Schumann resonance is spiking regularly, man. Like we're literally having light rained on us from the cosmos, from the sun, to
Yep.
where if you take the time to connect with these elements, man, you're gonna be receiving everything you need to when it comes to information, man. Like, because every single book that a man has written started first as an inspiration through a thought, man.
That's right.
And where do these types of thoughts come from? They come from the ethers, man. They come
Yeah.
from these elements, man. They come from somebody being able to sync up their mind, their soul, their heart with the exact channel to be able to portal in that information, man. And that is not
Absolutely.
something that you can do with a vessel that is contaminated. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you may be able to do it on some level, but the clearer the channel, the more potent the what is flowing through it. You know,
Yeah.
and man, like and even if you're in a space where you're say like okay you're in your beginning phase but you're starting to realize like nature has some codes up in there, you know, like just the fact that you start to go form that relationship, you'll see what that'll start to do within you, man, you know. And even when you get to the point where you start to, you know, take these sacred medicines, man, it's also a DNA shifter.
Oh yeah, yeah, big time, man. When I went and connected with that wind element last week, I had a moment where I had my eyes closed and I'm laying under the sun, and as my eyes are closed, I'm looking and seeing all these codes, these light codes coming in,
Mm,
and I'm like, wow, it kind of clicked in, like you're saying, where it's happening on my skin. It's happening
mm-hmm.
anywhere the sun is touching on my body, and it's activating these Schumann resonances and these codes from the sun. And as that's happening, more and more of that DNA is getting activated, and more of my body is coming online for what it's
Exactly,
really meant to be doing here, you know? And
exactly,
I
man.
really felt that. Like I really felt and saw the codes. Like they looked
Exactly, man.
they looked like almost like Egyptian mixed with Mayan, mixed with Aztec, like these really ancient looking symbols and animals draw like enmeshed in it, right? You know, like almost like a painting that the Wirarikas do, right?
Yes,
Where
exactly.
where it's like the animals and the sacred geometries all intertwined into one tapestry. It was kind of like that, but there was like a layer that I had to go through of like this reality and to get into that reality, and then everything became really clear. It was really interesting.
Man, that's powerful, bro. That's exactly it, man. That's exactly it. Is, you know, that connection opens up something in your DNA because DNA has all the wisdom, man. And this is, have you ever heard of the subject epigenetics? This was a
Hmm.
big part of how I made these connections to like realize this, bro.
Hmm.
So epigenetics, man, is um, basically the evolution of biology, man, and the relationship to the understanding that our genes are something that are constantly adapting. Our
Hmm.
genes, like say, it's very, and this actually contradicts and like transcends modern day biology and medicine, bro. Because
Yeah.
what modern day medicine teaches is that we're born with these genes that we inherited from our parents, and contingent to those genes, though we can acquire certain illnesses and that we can acquire certain um, but we're stuck with those genes, and we got what we got, and oh
Mhm.
well, you know. That's
No, that's not the
what
case.
modern. No, that's not the case at all. What epigenetics teaches us, and there's a very thorough study done by Dr. Bruce Lipton, which is one of my OGs, man. Like a lot of what I studied through biology and like a lot of like the understandings I've gotten have been through studying Dr. Bruce Lipton, man. He's a
Hmm.
legend, man.
Hmm.
One of my favorite people to learn from. I just love the way he has the ability of meshing science and spirituality together,
Yeah.
and it's just major for me. Like to me, it's just music to my ears. You know, it's
Yeah.
gold. It's gold. And so epigenetics is um, touching the subject that our genes are molded by not only our environment but our perception of our environment. So, say for
Hmm.
example, if I'm in an environment where I'm constantly in survival mode, if I'm in an environment where it's like a city and I'm like always having to have my head on a swivel, to thrive in that environment, my body, being an adaptable being, is gonna make sure that I have the genes turned on to be able to adapt to that environment and survive in it. You
Hmm.
know, so whatever other genes that you don't need in that environment, they'll go down, and the whatever genes that you do need in that environment go up.
Hmm.
But not only the environment, but your perspective of it, because you could be in a dense environment, but if your perspective is keen, if you're like, okay, this is my circumstance, and I'm gonna do the best that I have, that I can with this circumstance, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna make sure that I stay positive. I'm gonna make sure that I'm always cultivating my mind, my body, my spirit, helping myself, helping those around me, and just making sure that everything is on point. That mind state, in your environment, you're like, okay, yeah, there's some dense stuff here, but man, I have hope.
Hmm.
You know, that mind state shifts your genes, because if
Right.
you become a product of your environment, then you will, and like you just embody the negativity of it, then that will reflect into your genome, and you will start to operate to be able to survive in that. However, say you put yourself in a natural environment, like say for example me living in the jungle at that time. In that environment, the genes that you need to survive and thrive there are different. These are
Oh
very
yeah.
godly genes that activate whenever you're living in that type of environment.
Hmm.
So the genes that I needed to survive in the city, those genes go down, and the genes that I need to survive in the jungle, those genes rise up.
Hmm.
And so when it comes to like actually doing this work of healing our DNA, it's just as much mental as it is environmental.
Hmm.
You know, it's both of those into factor, because um, because yeah, man, it's a product of the culture medium and how you perceive and what is your reaction to that culture medium. Um,
Yeah, and
and it's
this ties into suffering, right? The Buddha talked about
exactly, man.
suffering and those kind of things, and I think that what um, I'm learning as I go is that I get to choose how long I want to suffer, right?
Exactly.
If it's a really challenging experience, I can say, you know what? I'm just gonna accept this how it is. I'm gonna do what I can to shift inside myself and learn the lessons, but I don't need to suffer anymore with it, right?
Exactly.
And there's people that will play the same thoughts in their head, the same past experiences, this even anxiety for the future, and that
Mm-hmm.
causes suffering. But when we're really present in the moment and just accepting of where things are, then that eliminates the suffering because you're totally in the moment and you're like, I'm good. I'm good right now. And then if there's a challenge that arises in the moment, then you deal with it. But coming back to that place of like, I'm choosing to not suffer and I'm choosing positivity. I'm choosing gratitude. I'm choosing those
Mm-hmm.
higher emotions of that correlate directly with a higher frequency. And then
Mm-hmm.
from there, it's like the people that are thriving and that are here to help with the new earth, I believe, are the ones that can shift out of that suffering in the blink of an eye while also honoring their emotions and their process and feeling all of it. And then when they're done feeling it and fully embracing it, like the different levels of acceptance and grief and things
Yes,
like that, not honoring all that, not just being like, oh no, it's all light and love, but like honoring that shadow work and those layers. And then, but then when you come out of that, being like, I don't need to go back in there because I've already processed all that, you know?
exactly, man. Exactly. That's when we get into the conversation of alchemy, sacred alchemy. Like
Hmm.
everything that you just described is that's emotional alchemy, being able to process that circumstance and receive the medicine from what hurt, from what was like even a trauma, like be able to process that with a healthy lens and receive medicine from it, but give yourself the space and grace to actually process it, but then being able to also shift that
Hmm.
shift that energy into what you needed to be, because no matter what occurs in your life, I will assure you that there's always a self-empowering standpoint that you can find.
Hmm.
And that is exactly how that alchemy works, man. Is like you have like your thoughts is the alchemy computer of your emotions, man. Like
Hmm.
you can't feel a certain way unless you think of a certain way first. And
Right.
contingent to whatever thoughts or perspectives you choose on your certain circumstances or your reality at the moment is how you're gonna feel about yourself and said reality.
Hmm.
So, like, say an occurrence happens, you're in a relationship, your partner leaves out of the blue. You can either choose the perspective of like, man, I just took a L, like I just like, man, like I'm not enough, like I'm this, I'm that, like, or you can like choose a perspective, and that doesn't mean that you bypass your emotional process. It just means like you start to really go into that acceptance of like, okay, like maybe the soul contract that we had is complete now, or maybe the work that we had to do as souls together, it's complete. They're no longer for my path, they're no longer for my journey. We serve the purpose in each other's life that we came here to serve, and I can accept that. I can stand in power with that, and I can stand in gratitude with that. And
Right.
those are two different processes of the same situation.
Hmm.
And contingent to which one you choose is how you're gonna, propel. And that's the alchemy of it, is being able to choose a self-empowering standpoint while not bypassing your emotional process and sweeping it under the rug. you
Exactly.
know
Hmm.
and and yeah, man, that's it's important. It's important to be able to have that relationship with yourself, to be able to have that self-awareness, to actually confront these things and actually process them, actually transmute them, alchemize them, heal them, and turn them into medicine. Because if we don't do that process and we bypass it, sweep it under the rug, under the fridge, like I used to do when I dropped cereal on the floor, just sweep
Hmm.
it under the fridge real quick with my shoe. Like that's how I used to treat my emotions, man. Like that,
Right.
I used to treat my emotions like that.
Hmm.
And when you let that pile up, it becomes a ticking time bomb that can explode on anybody.
Right.
You know, when you let that pile up like that, man, like man, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. That's how you leave other people trauma. That's how you start to project those things that you never truly healed. That you just kind of put a band-aid over. Like I said, swept it under the rug really quick and
Hmm.
kept it moving because you had life to life. You had to keep life in,
Right.
but that stuff will eventually weigh your heart, weigh your spirit, and be a plague to your mind if you don't truly do the work of transmuting and alchemizing these energies that and these traumas and these different experiences that we've had that can be through contrast, which are the biggest teachers, man. Um, and that's something that I haven't done it that frequently in my current life. However, I had a phase in my life where I would constantly, every time I observed something that was a contrast to where how I like to vibrate,
Hmm.
I would say thank you for the contrast, not like directly to them, unless it was like
Mm.
a very direct conversation where like that would be my only answer. Like if somebody like is over here throwing mad shade, like just over here throwing just their venom on me, like I would literally my only response to them, just keep it neutral. Thank you for the contrast, and just keep my energy moving, and that was like it's like that was like an affirmation that would just really help me keep a healthy perspective and really help me appreciate the beautiful teacher that contrast can be in this life. Experiencing something that doesn't feel good really helps you fine tune what does feel good for you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's having those people that are that example of contrast is so important because it gives us the opportunity to be like, you know what? I don't want to be like that, you know?
Exactly.
And I'm not going to be like that. And thank you for showing me that that's not how I want to be, you know?
Thank you for being a teacher in this
Right,
moment, you
right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, because everybody, I believe everybody's a teacher. Everybody's a mirror for each
Exactly, man.
every single person. And yeah, that contrast is important. It really is because without it, it's like I wouldn't know what I could become that I didn't want to be.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yes, agreed.
So it just is, it's just part of this experience. And those people, one of my buddies, I love how he navigates that space. He just says, God bless you, you know?
Yeah, man.
And and
Yes,
and doesn't feed the energy, doesn't give his energy to that, that hurt part of that person, but just like, God bless you, man, or
yes, man.
whoever, right? And it's powerful. It's powerful because then it like shifts that person. They're like, whoa, this person's sending me love and good wishes. Like, whoa, okay, maybe and it kind of snaps them out of that space sometimes, you know?
Exactly. Agreed, man. Agreed. And
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's really important to have those types of anchors that you have with yourself that like whenever you experience those type of things to have a really fundamental way of bringing yourself back to center, man. Like
Hmm.
say, um, like just like say just like something that I ask myself and like I ask it with a lot of people that I have deep conversations with is like do you know how to make yourself happy when you're sad? Do you know how to bring
Mm.
yourself back to balance when you're imbalanced? Do you
Hmm.
know how to create peace whenever you're feeling chaos?
Hmm.
Like these types of questions, like if you don't have the answers for those questions for yourself, then it's like it's time to really like hit the inner realm, because like I once didn't have answers to those questions, and thankfully and humbly and gratefully I can say that I now do. Like whenever I feel perturbed, whenever I feel chaotic, whenever I feel that the weight of the world is crushing on me, like I am thankful that to now have like tools that like I've developed through relationship with myself and different modalities that I've learned on this path and different remedies that I've gotten on this path, and to be able to alchemize these energies whenever they start to spiral in directions where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to feel that, and
Hmm.
to be able to know how to reground, recenter, realign, and keep walking, because man, it's a beautiful spiritual obstacle course that we're living, man, and it's never ending. No matter how much you evolve, it's always going to be new level, new devil. It's
Hmm.
always going to be new obstacles for you to face, and the beauty of it is that as we evolve, we get sharper. Even though each level gets harder, we're getting sharper, and if we stay attuned, if we stay focused, if we stay aligned, we're always gonna have that spiritual blade ready for that spiritual combat, man. Because we are indeed in a spiritual war, man. If there's something that this path has taught me, man, I remember there was a space in time where I was in a very naive space with my spirituality, man. I
Hmm.
I was in a perspective where some years ago where anybody who talked like me, anybody who liked to hit these subjects like me, anybody that dressed like me, anybody that was like anybody that was on a path that was similar, I would automatically consider them my family, man.
Hmm.
But I had to be humbled on that journey and understand that not everybody has the same intentions that we have on this path, man. Like
Right.
there's some people that are cultivating consciously um, a contradicting energy to the light. There's so many people that are consciously cultivating ill intent with what they're doing on this path and with this medicine. And that was something I had to learn the hard way, man. Like that, not everybody is Like I learned that the word spiritual is a very vast word. Like
Mm-hmm.
just as angels are spirits, so are demons. You know,
Right.
like so this was like a awakening I had within the awakening was
Mm-hmm.
like okay, like spiritual discernment. Like okay, not everybody is operating on the frequency of being in alignment with my path and being somebody I could consider a teammate on this path. And that
Right.
was something I had to accept. It was a reality check because for me, anybody that was even remotely on this frequency, like of just like if I have a great conversation with someone, I'm like that person was dope. Like I love that guy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
little do I know that this person is operating in a very ill intent with the spiritual work that they do.
Mm-hmm.
But due to the fact that I was naive, I may have put myself around certain people that now that I've, come to certain awakenings or remembrances, I'm like, oh wow, like you really start to see things for what they really are, and you're like, okay, you start to have a stronger spiritual discernment, which is very, very important on this path, man. Like, it's something I very much value, man. And there's a part of the journey um, that I feel like would take a whole nother podcast to really dive deep into. But man, I had this journey. So the main medicines I work with are Bufo, Ayahuasca, and peyote.
Mm-hmm.
And well, obviously like this combo as well, rapé as well,
Mm-hmm.
um, and all those medicines, man, like they're beautiful, sacred, and psilocybin as well has been my OG since the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but my main favorites, I would say, are the sweat, temazcal,
Mm-hmm.
um, ayahuasca, and bufo. Like those are my favorite medicines.
Mm-hmm.
Rapé is all time favorite, but that's like
Oh yeah, bro. I'm
yeah,
about
that's
to go
like
do
doesn't
some
even need to
after
be
this.
said, man. Yeah, same here, man. That doesn't even have to be said though, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. In the beginning of my sacred service, my journey first started through rigorous shadow work, man.
Channel
So
work, you said?
shadow work, yeah. So I lived in this jungle, right? So I lived in this jungle, and I had this neighbor was this older man. I wouldn't necessarily refer to him as a elder frequency wise because when it comes to elder frequency, it's something that you sustain. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that you embody.
Yeah.
He's older. He's getting there. He's in his 60s right now. However, it's just through actually like so. First, I lived by myself in this jungle, and then I ended up like because he was my neighbor, so we would cross paths often. Have some really dope conversations. This man was he was fascinating. It was amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and so yeah, little by little, he started to invite me to help him out. Like hey man, we got the temple, we got the sweat, man. Like and and yeah, man. I really just like your vibe, and I feel that I was in a position where I wanted to learn, and that was my vibe. I want to
Mm-hmm.
learn. So
Mm-hmm.
like I was just super stoked, man. I'm like yeah, man, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, and so I'm there learning a bunch of stuff. And in the beginning of me offering my service there, man, I didn't know what Chibalba meant, but this place was called Portal Chibalba,
What does
which
Chibalba mean?
Chibalba means underworld, portal to
Oh,
the underworld.
okay.
So yeah, I didn't know what I was signing up for
Mm-hmm.
by offering my service there, bro. But I will tell you this: it very much is exactly what the name is. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not just a name. Like Portal Chivalva is not just the name of that place. Like no, it very much is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because man, like the deeper I got with my service there, the deeper I got with just sharing my energy with that space. I'm the person that is harmonizing. I'm the person that is cleansing, like on a physical, like making sure it's clean, and on an
Mm-hmm.
energetic, making sure it's clean. So man, like so, the deeper I got with my prayer at that place, it was probably like a month in when I like came to realize what Chivalba actually meant. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't really have the exact timeline, but weeks to a month in where I was like had a conversation and like it wasn't even through a conversation with myself. It was through a conversation that the guardian of that temple, the owner, if you will, He doesn't like the name owner. The guardian of that temple, he was explaining to somebody else the origin of the name, and that it was the underworld. And so I didn't know that until that day. And so I was like, okay, well, I mean, that's also a very sacred energy, you know. And it's like, okay, so I kind of had to just like, you know, integrate the fact that that was the energy I was working with in this
Mm-hmm.
prayer, but I didn't know that. And so yeah, man, that's exactly what it was. It was a very deep walk, and the deeper I got with that prayer, the more the beings of that place let themselves be known, let themselves
Mm-hmm.
be seen, and the deeper they took me into that very same underworld, like the deeper
Mm-hmm.
they took me into experiencing that realm. And like, say this would only happen on medicine, so I'd take ayahuasca, and basically I would be taken down there, man. And like, say one of the things that they did explain to me that was interesting was that the underworld is not the same thing as the hell that they describe
Right.
in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
That is nowhere, no way, shape, or form the
Mm-hmm.
same the same place.
Right.
You know, and if I could understand correctly through just like the telepathy and just the conversations had, man, and the observations observed, is I observed it like a purification realm, man, like a realm where souls go to purify, to be able to like, and nobody's being tortured by anything there.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody's being tortured by any demons. No, people are there, and they're being confronted by their own actions, their own doings, and the thing that tortures them is their own regret, their own shame, and their own,
Mm-hmm.
like, just that is like what is their torture, man. And so from there, man, um, like I remember just going down there and just being like just praying in whatever way I can see fit, while being subtly overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, man, like, cause I remember just my exact thoughts whenever I'd be taken to these places, man. Like through like a like I'm over here on ayahuasca meditating, and I'm being portaled into these places, man. And I remember just being very fascinated, like, wow, like I can't believe I'm experiencing this. Like I literally couldn't believe it, man. Like it was like, okay, these are things that me seeing these beings, man, and me like having these experiences, like these are things that I've always believed in, but it's
Mm-hmm.
a lot more real, like experiencing it like firsthand. And I was just
Yeah.
like, so like I really couldn't believe it. Like even though like part of myself wanted to have fear, like I was more like intrigued and fascinated, like, oh my god, like wow, like this was like one of the most bizarre and um undescribable fascinating things that I've ever experienced, man. Um and yeah, it started to take an interesting twist, um where, because I was always only an observer in this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it, a good friend of mine, the one exactly that showed me the prayers of the fire, he had told me, he was like, man, the way these beings work, um, they're like, the more the if they like see you as like a ally, if they like you, they give you more and more keys. And that's why every ceremony they would take me deeper to absorb, like they would activate like more vision, if you will.
Mm.
And so as I got deeper, like it started to get more profound. And they said, but he like, man, but as they give you keys, if at any point in time they feel like you disrespect, or that you're out of alignment, or that something that they don't like, then they will take keys.
Mm.
And yeah, so there was incident that I had in that, because man, I'm gonna be fully transparent. You know, I'm a human being, and this is gonna be a full moment of transparency that I had on this path and this journey that was like the beginning phases of my journey with the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that my friend told me, that friend, because he honestly he told me whenever I told him that I was like wanted to give my service like fully full time, because I lived in my house, he lived in this the guy with the temple lived over here like probably like 50 meters away from me,
Mm-hmm.
and he and like one day like as we started to like develop more of a friendship, a relationship, he like asked me, he was like, hey man, like how much are you paying for rent? And I told him, I was like, no, well, this much. And he was like, when will I give you a proposition? I really like your service. You've been helping me with the temazcal, with the sweats, like, um, and I like your service, man. Like, he was like, I'll give you a proposition. How about you come, live with me? Here in the temple, you help me with everything in the temple. I give you um, 2 foods a day, and you help me with just the operations here at the temple, man, and everything. And I was just like super stoked. I was like, yeah, like let's do it. And
Yeah.
whenever I told my good brother, the one that taught me the prayer of the fire, and I told him, I was like, hey man, yeah, I'm thinking of going, giving my service over there, man. I just, I'm in a position where I just want to learn, man.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me this look, like the look of like, are you sure? And
Uh-huh.
I was just like, and he asked me, he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, man, I really want to. And now that like I kind of like had a graduation from that walk of shadow that I really needed, because now that I like like came out of that in one piece,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the heck that experience was, that was wow, out of this world.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I came out of that in one piece and I have my sanity and everything, I will say that that was a part of my journey that I value, like I highly value, man, because
Mm.
not only did it fortify my service in the light to experience such a contrast, but because I don't see the underworld as a negative thing. Just in particular, it's just not the prayer I want to walk.
Right.
Like,
Right.
like it's just not the prayer I want to walk.
Right.
Um,
There's
I
enough
don't
of
see
that
it
already. To my perspective, is there's so much of it already. It's like we need as many light workers as we can, you know?
exactly, man. And so yeah, man. So I value it as one of like, because now not only did it fortify my service in the light on a level where it's like I'm like just fortified, man. Like, but I no longer have fear in the face of darkness, and
Mm-hmm.
that was like one of the
That's
things that
huge.
that I would struggle with at times. Where like, okay, man, like there's clearly a spirit here, like shaking, like
Yeah.
now like I'm able to like harness my energy and know how to respond and react to certain spiritual confrontations that may be um, what you can call literal spiritual warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just how to be able to feel that, navigate it, and not be feared in the face of it, and to hold and harness the light and prayer in the face of that type of adversary,
Mm-hmm.
if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so, man, like so, this was something that was the most potent and necessary experiences, man. This was a walk through the shadow, through the walk through the valley of the shadow of death, is how I would say it, man. And I value it greatly, man. And I honestly left that place having to heal more than when I got there.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like say like I got there in a very fortified, really strong state, and when I left there, like my energy was drained, man.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to the point where like I started to like really see how like the people moving the energy there and just what was going on. Like I I have a very strong inclination that it was a conscious energy siphoning of my energy.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
because man, I left there like I said, needing to heal more than when I got there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and but it was powerful, man. It was, like I said, part of the journey that I value the most. And now being where I'm at now, it's very easy to understand why that was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
um,
I had an experience like that in the beginning of my awakening where there was this woman at this crystal shop who was like a black witch,
mm-hmm.
and she tried to recruit me. She was like, "Oh, I got this young daughter. You guys would make a good couple." And then her
Wow.
her daughters tried to hit me up, and they were like persistent. They were like messaging me on Facebook like daily, you know?
Hmm.
And I was like, no, I see through this. Thank God for my intuition, right? I was like,
Yeah.
I see through this and I'm not interested in that. Thank you. You know?
Hmm.
And I feel like, you know, for most light workers, there is that period where the that side, the dark side, tries to recruit, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And I feel like it's part of a rites of passage in a way,
Yeah,
where to be able to feel that, man, and
yeah,
be able to confront that
hmm,
and still choose the light, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, exactly.
Because man, it's really interesting, brother. It's really, really interesting. And just again, thank you for the contrast because that contrast fortified my spirit,
Right,
you know?
right.
And that's why the same thing that I was saying earlier, spiritual discernment, that is exactly what that taught me, bro. Because before that, like I said, anybody who talked like me, dressed like me, loved what I love, I considered them instant ally, bro. Like it
That's
was
right.
instant,
That's
like
right.
ah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I
I
mean,
had
in the
a
beginning,
really
that's where everybody's kind of at anyway, right? Like people are trying to
exactly,
figure out which where they're at, and it's all one frequency, and eventually it all goes back to the same creator energy anyway, you know?
exactly,
So
man,
it's an interesting thing. But we live in a world of duality here, right?
exactly,
And so it's like, uh, even though it's all one, we're still in this illusion of the duality, and it's like you gotta choose a side eventually, you know?
exactly. It's like I understand that I'm a being that is made up of light and darkness, light and shadow, you know? And I embrace both facets of myself,
Hmm.
but I am fully anchored in the fact that my service is to the light.
That's right.
I embrace all the facets of myself. I embrace my shadow. I embrace it.
Hmm.
And bit by bit, we are feeding it awareness and integrating it into the light.
Right.
You know, however, I do not negate that side of me. I do not vanquish it. I do not cast it out.
Hmm.
I embrace it. I understand that I'm a dual being.
Hmm.
However, I am ascending into that oneness frequency in the service of the light.
Right.
And some people, like say, and for example, these beings that I was around at that time, I'm not gonna say that they operate in fully dark. No, they're beautiful people, man. They're beautiful beings, and I see the beauty in them. Just that their intention is towards the dark.
Right.
Their end all be all, their service, their prayer is towards something that does not feel resonant towards me.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, and
and like
it's a
say
big warning for people, right? Because when people are trying to find those spaces where to sit with medicine, it's like use huge discernment because I've had friends that were like, "Oh yeah, I'll go to Colombia, I'll check it out," and then they're sitting with these really dark brujos, and
exactly,
and they're like, "What did I get in? What did I get myself into?" You know?
exactly, bro, exactly, and it's nothing to be played with, bro. Like, man, I sat with the Dark Brujo because my role there at that temple was to be of service at any ceremony that happened, no matter what.
Hmm.
And part of me being the firekeeper is also drinking the medicine. And some shamans would be like, "Oh, the firekeeper has to drink double because he needs more force," you know.
Ah. Hmm.
And so, like, man, so in one ceremony in particular, man, oh, I'll never forget it. This is when it started to take a twisted twist, bro. Like, man, like, it even got to the point where, like, there was only one candle in the temple. And with the way, the angle I had with the view of the person guiding the ceremony, um, and when he was singing, I don't know if it was just an optical illusion or if I was tripping, bro, but I could have sworn that I saw shadows flying out of his mouth as he was
Ooh, I'm getting chills as you're
praying
saying that, bro.
praying these icaros that you can't understand.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they made my nervous system feel uneasy, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like these specific songs, like it sounded kind of cool, but it made my nervous system feel uneasy, bro. And shortly after that, man, and this guy treated me weird the whole time, bro. I don't know why. He'd never met me before. But
Hmm.
there was something about him where he couldn't look me in the eyes.
Hmm.
He couldn't look me in the eyes, and I noticed it. And he just was like, his energy was just so standoffish with me for no
Hmm.
reason,
Yeah.
having said that this is a person that's never met me. Like,
Right.
why are you, what's the need, you know? Like, I'm
Yeah.
here to help you.
Yeah.
And shortly after, I understood why, man. I think he, like, maybe a seer and saw a light that he didn't like. You know, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know, man. But
Yeah, I've
man,
been
all I know is that there
yeah.
were spirits tormenting me that night, bro. And
Oh
this is
wow.
exactly what happened. Like a gust of like air came by and would whisper in my ear. And the first thing they whispered, but in Spanish. And this was the first time in my life that I had auditory interaction with like a spirit. Like this is
Okay.
like not something I heard in my head. Like this was a voice, bro,
Uh-huh.
from something that was not apparently with me. You know,
Right.
like an actual voice. Like that was the first time it ever happened to me on that level where I'm like, and like I freaked out for a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I freaked out for a little bit, and then
What
I
was
had
it
a.
saying?
So the first thing it said was, "The darkness has you,"
Oh gosh.
and then it
Woo.
came by the other ear, poof, and then it said, "And there's no way out" in Spanish, and there's no way
Whoa.
out, and I'm over here like what, what's happening? What's happening? And then it goes by again, and it says, "You decided no," and I'm like, when? I'm like over here like I'm over here freaking out, bro. I'm like, what? What's happening? And then when it said you decided, that's when I started to freak out. I was like, when? I'm
Right.
like over here, bro.
Uh,
I'm like low key. At this point, I'm over here at service at this ceremony. But I'm telling you, bro, I was about to sprint through this jungle out of this ceremony.
Uh-huh.
Like, like I was this close
Yeah.
to sprinting out of this ceremony. Like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Like, I am not, like, bro, like, these are not my people. I don't know who this is. Like,
Yeah.
and bro, and so that's what happened, man. And like this thing like was just tormenting me, bro. And then I would like try to like walk away, and then it would like trip up my feet, bro. Like, and like I
Mm.
was just like, okay, man. And um, then I started to pray, bro. Like I just harnessed my energy, and I didn't know what to believe, man. So I just prayed. I just prayed literally through Yeshua.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I prayed through Yeshua, man, and I literally harnessed my light, man, and harnessed my prayer and affirmed the fact that what this thing happened to say to me is impossible. I was like, because what I vibrate in, what I believe in, and what I stand for is way more powerful than anything that they can stand for.
Right.
You know? So
Right.
I just had to anchor that in, bro, in that moment. And it took me, it wasn't easy. Like, it took me a while, bro. Like, I was, for a moment, like, I was, like, literally, like, I was shook, you know? Like,
Yeah.
hearing those words, man, and, like, because, man, like, just imagine a mind that believes them and accepts it,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, damn, like, wow, like I'm like sworn into this pact now just because I gave service to this place, you know?
Yeah, I it makes me think about I've only sat with ayahuasca twice, but that was enough for me. And because the medicine told me you can continue on and eventually serve this, or you can serve other medicines and medicines can be yoga, it can be breath work, all these other things, right? So it was like you could take that path or you could continue and get committed to ayahuasca path. And I was like, I think I'm going to go the other route, right?
Yeah,
And so I had an experience on the ayahuasca where I was looking at one of the because there was a few shamans there, but one of them I saw this dark entity like right next to it, just guiding the guy, And it was like he was telling him what to do and what to say and what music to put on and all this stuff. And I was like, oh man, this is far out.
hmm,
And then as the music came on, it's supposed to be like activating the pineal and the hypothalamus, that point when the medicine's really hitting, right? And that it's like supposed to be a little bit more chaotic in that moment when that's happening, but I was already in it. I just went into it like instantly. And so I'm looking at the speakers, and out of the speakers is like all this subtitles flying into the air, and they're telling me like exactly what the subconscious programming of the song is. And I'm like, I do not consent to
wow.
this. I am not okay with any of this. And I just started yelling it out loud. And then he came over and he's like, "You got to go outside, bro. You can't be yelling like that." But I'm like, "I do not consent to this. Like, I'm not here for this, right?" And
Wow, that's deep, bro.
it was really deep. And then I was like, "I'll come back when you guys start playing the mantras that they were saying they'll play with Kundalini Yoga," which I was really familiar with and knew really felt good in my body. And it was just like so far out. And but I recognized that from that space, once I can like start opening my heart and really feeling love and purging out all the things from my past relationships and all this stuff, right? Once I got into that frequency of love, none of those beings existed. It was
Hmm.
just like Shipibo patterns everywhere, open eye, it was just like
Wow.
the frequency of love, right? Like it was just like love emanating through all of the existence. And it was just like it didn't exist there because in that frequency it can't exist, you know?
Hmm.
And so that's what I realized. I was like, anytime that fear creeps in, I can just tune into like the highest love, whatever that looks like for each individual, and then from there, those dark forces don't exist.
Hmm.
So it was a huge realization for me in that regard. But I wanted to share that
Man,
piece.
thank you for sharing, man. That's deep stuff, man. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's very likened to like what I had experienced, man. So
yeah.
you feel what I'm saying for sure. And
Confirmation right there with the ding.
yeah, man, you heard
Yeah.
that? And man, so yeah, that was actually somebody very special to me that just texted. Have you ever, since you lived in San Diego a bit, did you ever go to the World Beat Center where Mama Makeda's at, Makeda Dread?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who just texted me right
Oh,
now.
amazing. Amazing. That place
Yeah,
is
that's
really
a
cool.
that's a real spiritual mother in my life, man. Like
Beautiful.
through her, I learned a lot of stuff. Through her, I learned Kundalini yoga. Through her, I
Oh,
learned
wow.
Qigong. Through her, I got to pray with the Native Americans for the first time. I
Wow.
got to learn about African culture, Native American culture, Mexican culture, Jamaican culture, man.
Wow.
Like, man, Asian. Like, man, she's a Earth legend, like in every aspect of the phrase, man. And
Hmm.
that's somebody that I definitely regard as like a spiritual mother for not only me but to anybody that crosses her path.
That's the best, man. When you can, when those people come in that just like have so many seeds to plant in your
Yes,
garden,
man.
it's like,
Yes, man.
gosh, I had so much gratitude for one of my brothers like that the other day. It just brought me to tears. I woke up at like 4 a.m. and I'm just like crying because he went off and started a journey where he renounced everything. He
Hmm.
renounced his job, he renounced everything and just went to Nepal and India and he's over there now. But it's like so much gratitude for those people, man. It's
Yeah,
so
man.
deep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, brother,
man.
I think this is a good place for us to round out. We're at like
Yeah,
2 hours,
man.
15 minutes. But yeah, man, this was amazing. I mean, we covered so much and we have such a beautiful conversation, man. And you're
Man,
always
it
welcome
was
on
good.
back anytime you want. Anytime you have anything to offer, anytime you want to share anything, we'll share all your links for how people can connect with you, how they can work with you. And thank you again, brother. It was a true honor.
Yes, I thank you, brother. Thank you for first and foremost creating this sacred space, man, and to be able to open these channels, man, and let the energy flow and let spirit talk, man, and hopefully these can be medicines or activations or just remembrances for people, man. At the end of the day, there's nothing I can teach you, there's nothing I can teach the world. We're just helping each other remember along the way.
That's right.
So this is all information that's all within us, and we're remembering it together, man. So to be able to be a puzzle of us coming together and bringing more unity to the earth through bringing this puzzle of information that is the puzzle of our soul as a collective soul, So
Yeah.
we're remembering as a whole, and I want to thank you for inviting first and foremost, and for creating this space, and for doing the work that you're doing, bro. And
Thank you.
um, I pray that Great Spirit keeps inspiring you to do great things, man, and to keep on forging this path of divine light, brother, of
You too,
divine
man.
divine community, man. And you're doing something great, bro. And with persistence, you'll see that it will take you far to continue working with that pure heart of yours, bro.
Thank you, brother. You too, man. The
Thank you,
light in
man.
me sees the light in you, brother.
Namaste, King.
Namaste. Until next time, man. So much
Yes,
love.
I. Blessings, bro.
Blessings.